Welcome to Stories, Soulwork, and Substack. I'm John Rinaldo, joined by my co-host, Kaz in the World. Each episode we share real stories, honest conversations that connect us through creativity and truth. Before we begin, please remember our discussions are based on personal experiences and not a substitute for professional advice. Now let's dive in. Hey, Kaz.
Diving in.
How you doing?
Diving in. Good.
Oh my
How are you
God,
doing?
that was a horrible intro.
Oh
I'm
no, but
doing
you know
well.
that blue right after our beautiful intro, and it went to this gorgeous royal blue. I'm like, well, maybe that's something new. Let's just pretend that's something new.
That's something new. Yes, it just sits there, and I don't know. I'm having a lot of internet acts. I guess it's me. So, anyways, how
It's
you doing?
you. I'm good. I
That's
got my fourth book to the publisher last night.
right on.
Yes, I'm excited. So we'll see when he puts it all together and sends it back to me how many mistakes there still are. I don't like where that comma is, or whoops, I spelled that wrong. No, I'm so anal. I go over it with a fine tooth comb. So if luckily a lot of mistakes don't come back. And my designer is still working. We're still bantering back and forth on the cover. Make that larger. No, make that smaller. Put that here. You forgot that. That's okay. It's my son, so he's very cool and very talented, so we don't do much of that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And you
That's good.
you had a busy week from our banterings back and forth during the week in our small production meetings. You had a busy week.
Yeah, I've had a busy week. I've had a lot of things going on. Yeah, just trying to work it through. Some life stuff
Yeah.
and work life. Trying to get things going. Yeah. But nothing really. I don't think it's newsworthy. Just life general stuff that you have to go through and you have to work through. Um, yeah.
Life does
So
happen all day, every
I don't know how to
day.
explain it. How do you explain that? It's
Life
just
happens. Life
life
is
happens,
life. Life is life.
right?
It just keeps moving
And
forward, hopefully. It just keeps moving forward because the alternative is not what I desire at this moment in time. So,
right. I'm still having internet problem, people. So I'm a little bit lagged behind, and I'm not sure what the heck's going on.
you
I
look like you're
usually my internet's
strobing a little.
a little bit. I don't know if it has to do with my light. Fire it back. Maybe that might be better. I have a
Uh,
green screen that I'm trying to use, and it's not working.
oh, really?
Um, yeah,
Hmm.
that's a green screen. I'm trying to cover up my shelving book. So yeah. Other than that, I think I've had a good week overall,
Good.
trying to accomplish what I can. I need to start writing some more. That's the thing. I'm preparing for the new season, trying to change things up a little bit. So hopefully the changes are welcome by my readers and audience.
Yes.
Puts more focus on podcast, writing, a little bit of mix of everything. So hopefully it works out. Um, yeah, book sales are going good.
Good.
The Miracle
Woohoo.
is actually selling pretty good, and the Earned Not Given is also doing well. So I'm
Good.
happy. I still need to get more reviews on my Substack so we can get that pushed. That's the only thing I'm trying to push more people to do.
And
So yeah,
Amazon, same thing. I mean, we talked about this, I think it
yeah,
was last week or the week before, how all of us writers, whether we are self published, hybrid published, or traditionally published, reviews help and they matter. And once you get to a certain number of reviews, Amazon starts pushing them more. So I've been
right.
prodding some people. I know you read it. I don't care if it's not a 5 star. Hopefully, it's not a 1 star. But please get your reviews in. It really does help.
Oh, I do have to say I was on Deborah Vinnell. I think I Vinal. I hope I said that right. Vinall. She's a Substack. I was on her podcast
Oh,
on the
yes.
mental health, and we talked about the parental alienation and things like that. So that's that's obviously a topic that a lot of people don't really understand. It's like everybody understands the middle of it, but they don't understand the aftermath of the consequences of some of those choices that are being made. And it's really about the kids. And I made more a presence of that than like the ongoing thing. I really wanted to make sure people understood what it takes a child to
Oh,
overcome. So
you made some really good points. I watched a good portion of it. You made some really good points, and I think I mentioned it maybe three episodes ago. Oh no, when I was on with Sue Reed about parental alienation, and a friend of mine here in Florida, where stuff is sometimes hard to get on the books. She had a situation with that and her former husband, and she went all the way to the top in the government and got it on the books about parental alienation. And more states need to get in line with that, because whatever partner it is that's doing their best to turn the child against the parent, um, got to work together. Parents, let's work together for the good of the children so they become well functioning adults.
right. So we have a guest coming up. You want to introduce?
We do. I really like this
Want to
woman. I
talk about
really
her a little
like
bit?
her.
Yeah.
Yes, I met her, I think in March. She and I both are in this goal setting kind of networking group. It's a small group that meets every month. And as a matter of fact, the woman who runs it, Deb Eckerling, will also be on the show. And yeah, she's just really a mover and a shaker. She's a go getter. She has so much motivation and determination. And I'm never going to do her justice by talking about what she does. She will elaborate and elucidate on what she does. But she really struck me in a positive way. What she's doing, how she's doing it,
Yeah.
and yeah, Camille is the real deal.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So we want to bring her in then? Is that what we want to do?
bring her. Yes, please. Let's bring her in. She's waiting with bated breath right now, going, okay,
Okay.
let's get this
There-
party started.
Hi,
There she
Camille. How you
is.
doing? So we did a brief introduction to you. Kaz did a great job on that. But I want to talk about more what are you currently doing, and just kind of get a little bit of what your story is, if you don't mind, and just kind of like talk through that, and then we'll kind of ask questions as it's permitted. So
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
you're welcome.
I should probably start off with who I am in the world,
Yeah.
right? It'll
Yes.
make more sense. I founded what's called the Soul Professional Movement, which is a global call for purpose-driven entrepreneurs all over the world to be good global citizens, to help each other rise, but really to build the businesses around authentically who they are in the world, like to show up and share your gifts with the world from a place of your truth. And we work as a business incubator. We've been around for about 10 years. And that is everything that I stand for, I write about, I talk about, is that movement, and allowing people to, create who they are and dovetail with what they do in life. So I help a lot of logically brained people that were in very structured jobs for long periods of time, bring out this other side of them, a side that they're usually hiding. Right? I call it
Mm.
soul-centered. It could be heart-centered. It could be spiritual. It's usually this side that they're, masking or not bringing out. And authenticity is really about, bringing it out in the world, and let's dovetail it to who you are. So mostly I spend my time designing and helping people bring their gifts to the world and teaching them how to run a business. We don't do products. It's all service-based entrepreneurs all over the world. So coaches, consultants, advisors, mentors, kind of doing their thing. That's a
Cool.
little bit of me.
So, what's the number one problem for most business owners or startups?
So the ones that aren't successful, it's usually a place of worthiness. So what I hear most is, this is what I really want to do, but people don't do it that way, or nobody would pay me to do that. So it comes from a place of worthiness and their own limiting beliefs. So many times you need to clear that up, which is a big part of what I do, is going into the subconscious and cleaning up all that self-talk that people are saying. So, you know, when you're coming out of logically brain jobs and have been working for other people your whole life, the world has not been set up for you to be an entrepreneur. Like, there's not a lot of support around that. And there's even less if you're doing it in a way that's in alignment with you, with who you are in the world, right? Your truth and your vision, and bringing it forward and doing it in a way that feels right and honoring who you are. So it's really education of, yeah, you can do this. And what are those limiting beliefs that are holding you back? So worthiness is probably number one. And that comes with, you know, your pricing, your money blocks, what you believe is what we call earning ceilings. That's all a part of it. And the other one is people have no idea how to run a business, how cash flow works, how P&Ls work. You know, so I dovetail the two of them, your spiritual side and the actual fundamentals of business. So that's where I come in.
So how did you get, like, I think you briefed it a little bit, but how did you start getting yourself involved in this world, and when did you start seeing that there was a need? What was the aha moment?
The creating of it.
Yeah. So my background was actually in not-for-profit management. So I came up through the not-for-profit world, which is very mission-driven. And the job I had before I created this company, I was a CEO of an agricultural company. And we worked a lot on the organic label in our food supply in the United States. And in that job is where I actually started to see all of these spiritual people that were hiding a piece of themselves, but we can only see in others what we are ourselves. So it was like looking in a mirror, right? And it was in that role that I shed a piece of myself, that whole corporate image that I needed to keep. And it was probably the last time I wore business suits too. And you know, the people that were eating organic and eating clean and believed in alternative medicine, those were my people. But a lot of them were in very logically brain jobs, like doctors and lawyers and CPAs and educators and engineers and doing the thing. But when they went home, they were somebody else. So it was that kind of awakening that showed me, okay, this was it. So that job was defunded in 2015. We lost funding. And I had to figure out, what am I going to do next in life? And so it was the reinvention of myself, but I knew that money was no longer my motivator, and I wanted to help people, and building community was a big part of what I could do. So I used the framework that I knew in not-for-profit world, and I created what's called the Natural Life Business Partnership, which started out as a coffee club. And we slowly moved throughout the Northeast of the United States. And by 2018, I had heard something called Zoom, and we went to a Zoom model. I'm very intuitive, and I knew that the future of business was going to be done on video. So I started teaching that right away. Like, you have to learn to start giving sessions on Zoom and being a part of Zoom. And in 2019, we went international. 2020, there was this global pandemic, you might remember. And we just...
No, I don't remember that at all.
We just went crazy. And, you know, that was like, they were little steps, but they were big steps. And then it was, you know, where do we go from here? How do we create? And since then, I was a paid membership for 10 years. I closed that last year. But since then, I've written 3 books about it. I'm writing my 4th one right now. just about being a soul-aligned entrepreneur and how are you leaving your legacy in the world.
So do you really think that the video conferencing is going to be our way of life in the future? Like 100%, or there'll be no interactions at all? Human interactions? It'll just be face to face?
Are you asking my opinion, or are you asking what moment?
Yeah. Your opinion.
Right now?
Yeah.
So
What do you see in the
I'm
future?
on the spot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do you
bring it up.
see that video is the shape of business instead? Because I've heard that we're going back to more in-person things.
Yeah. So
Well,
video, AI is all part of our future, right?
okay.
But people, human beings are actually going through a paradigm shift. We're becoming more heart-centered people. We care about the globalness and not just us as humans. We're becoming less ego-centered and self-centered and looking at humans, you know, as a bigger community. So it's how in the future are we going to keep the connections? It will look different, but I can't tell you what that looks like. And that's one of the reasons we closed down our membership, is because I know it's changing. I don't think we have the answer yet of where that's going. Because even people are getting tired of social media. We're getting tired of everything that we've been doing since 2020. And there will be a change. I know for my own community, people are asking us to meet in person again. We're in 30 countries at this point, and we're trying to figure out a way of how we're doing it. And we're in discussions about where are we going to start. Now, it's easy to start in the Northeast, right? But, you know, we have lots of people in different, some countries are very saturated, others not so much. So, and for me, we started something that's called Soul Adventures, where they're really just soulful excursions about learning culture and spending time and eating food and sharing time together. Yeah. It's a retreat. It's literally traveling together.
So there's a couple of things that you just said there. Number one, there is the office shortage. There's no office shortage anymore. There's empty offices, empty buildings, and they're getting repurposed either for homes or things like that. They're looking ways to change that, especially in New York or high density areas where there is no, there's no life after everybody goes home from the office. So they're looking different ways how to change that. And the market's changing. The other one is they're looking to find ways to have that personal connection. That was the other one. But the last point that you made was the cultural aspect. But the problem with the cultural aspect, our cultures are kind of changing. So what we used to know 50 years ago, like Italy was Italy, Germany was Germany, England was England, French was French, it's now becoming like a major melting pot of different backgrounds. And I'm probably more of the old school where I wish that didn't happen, because that culture, that way of life is something special to hold on to. But I understand, the world's changing. So how does, you talk about culture, you talk about all that, how does that, with the shift, I mean, there's a lot of shifts going on here. How does someone in the business navigate through that?
Well, I find, because I deal with a lot of what I call micro entrepreneurs, right? They have one or two people, they're in a service, they're making less than $1 million a year, some a lot less than that. Right. But it's the olive branch. And that's one of the things we're doing with the Soul Professional Movement is, when I can talk to people in 30 different countries, it's what brings us together. How are we more alike than we are different? And talk about that. And I think it's important to share our cultures and share what's important in our country or wherever you are in the world, in your culture, right? I'm an Italian American, and my family came from Italy.
Italiano.
Italiano.
And it's
Miller is not an Italian. Let me tell you, that's not an Italian name.
No, that is not my Italian name. That's the name I gave it. Camille is Italian, and there's a reason. And I have Miller because it's easy. Um,
For a second, I thought you were Irish.
I raised Americans, though.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like once ketchup hits the table, that's an American, right? And it's interesting because they don't cook the way they do some of the cooking, but like I don't cook the way my grandmother cooked, right? My grandmother was like, so we do miss it, and we have the fusions of culture too, which I think is really cool, right? And there is some beauty about, living in a global society. I think there's always going to be differences, and it's really about honoring it, right? And that's what I think is really important. Honoring the differences that each one of us have and being okay with it. And that's great. That's you. You be you, right? And just honoring it instead of fitting everyone into a social box, which I think we've done for many hundreds of years, right? Making people be who you think they should be, and people are changing. The paradigm shift is changing just all the way around. This paradigm shift is changing, and that's okay. So how do we honor it? How do we look at each other as a global citizen? And then where do we go from here? I think everything's going to start to implode, but in a good way. Like it's got to get bad before we rebuild. But I think there are areas that are rebuilding, right? Corporations are going to start tumbling because we have this cancel culture. Right. I think some of our political systems are going to start tumbling. Everything's going to change. It just does. Right. Over the past 50, 100 years, a lot of things have changed.
I was thinking about that today. I was thinking about the Roman Empire. I think guys think about the Roman Empire than anyone. So I was like reflecting on this Roman Empire. I was thinking about, I don't know why I got down the path of the Knights Templar going down to Jerusalem, and I think probably because of the war. I was thinking that region's always in conflict and always in whatever the case may be. But I was thinking about the Roman Empire and how that spawned and how it lasted such a long time. I mean, was it 6 centuries almost? I think, right?
I think so.
So, and I'm thinking to myself, but the history from that, like, there's a lot of history, but no one's like, I was just thinking about, and I don't want to get too political, but these last couple of days or the last 40 days we're dealing with the shutdown, I was thinking about how useless our government really truly is when they're not in session. And then I'm just thinking about how, I mean, other than the essential needs, paying people and making sure people are given money and stuff like that. But reality, what do they truly do? They do nothing other than just add more to the deficit. And I keep thinking about the Roman Empire parallel to this. If you think about the two societies, the one reason why the Roman Empire failed as a culture, as a country, they got into the sexualization stuff. They got into the cross whatever, and that kind of deteriorated the country so much. And then they got into, rather than focusing on taking care, being themselves, focused on helping those along the way, and conquering obviously was another part of that puzzle. But when they started going more internal, that's when the infighting increased. And you look at what's going on right now, it's the same similar thing. It's just a different way of approaching it. And I do see governments failing and crushing. And one of the things I've learned that we carry debt for a reason, because it's not meant to be paid back. It's meant to destroy countries, more or less. It's an intentional and I can see your point. The point we have to understand is, what do we do as civilians in this chaotic world that we live in? And I posted something today about, stop. You talk about social media too. I was on different platforms, and I was inundated by political things on on TikTok, X, Facebook, all political stuff, which hits your point where you're consumed on that. And I go on Substack now. I'm lucky that I try to stay away from that, but there's also parts of Substack that it started to pollute the platform in some degree. And as long as I try not to go down that path over there, I think I'm safe. But those other platforms are also the part of the destruction of our culture. And I was thinking about that today. I was like, that's a form of how the Roman Empire failed too, is this infighting, this constant destruction. And I agree with you to the point where, yeah, I see it as well. And I just don't know how the shift, like, not to be a casualty in the destruction of the government's stupidity.
Yeah.
Well, we've always been a part, for millennia, a part of power, money, power, money. Follow the money, follow the power, follow the power, follow the money. And it doesn't change. I mean, history repeats itself over and over and over again.
Right.
To circle back just a minute, if you'd hold on to your thought, Camille, you're talking about AI and things moving forward, but as I kind of alluded to earlier, there are several things that are happening that kind of harken to the past. Slow food movement has gained a lot of steam. People slow cooking again and getting out their crock pots and smoking food and all that kind of stuff because we enjoy it. And we're kind of getting sick of everything being fast, fast, fast. Just drive through and get crappy food and then carry on with your day. And that transcends into how our health is. And then what was my second point? My second point was, oh, in person, going to more, I think I may have been at the goal setting meeting, and I think you might have been there, where one of the guests said, he has been completely immersed in social media, and that's been his business for years, since nearly its inception. And now he's going back to in person lectures, in-person seminars, in-person, book releases. So what goes around comes around. And is there a way for us to live peacefully together with both of those things, with fast and slow, you know?
Well, I think we're getting comfortable with what works for all of us. Like I see less time being spent on social media, like
Mm.
building businesses. We had a big Facebook community. I don't even go in there anymore. And there's hundreds and hundreds of people. But I was like, but people my age just aren't doing it anymore. Right. And I think it started at the, in 2020 with COVID. And I'm Italian. I cook day and night. I very rarely go out. I cook and I cook. But by the end of COVID, all of my kids had come home from college and I had a full house and I hated it. And I didn't cook for years. And I'm just not doing it anymore. Now I probably cook more than the normal person still, but I literally was like, I'm not doing it. I was so tired, right? And we also went to video and we did all of this stuff, right? But I feel like now we're at that breaking point and we're going back to in person. Now I don't do a lot around food and alcohol anymore. I did pre-COVID, but I just don't anymore. So now I'm in, hiking groups and kayaking groups and biking groups, and because that's what I'd rather be doing with my time. Right. And I don't feel like spending all of the money with food and drink that doesn't bring me pleasure like it used to. Right. So I think we're just changing as a society. I've also started cooking a lot. As food got more expensive, I went back to my traditional meals that I grew up with, right? And I started teaching my kids because many of them live on their own. And I was like, okay, here's a meal that I can show you how to make, right? How do we make casseroles and beans and pastas and, and that's kind of the stuff I've been going back to now. I spend my Sundays prepping food so we don't pick food, right? And so it's changing. And we as a society are going to change with it. John had mentioned like social media and getting, I have a TikTok problem, which I'm trying to stop now because it's really shortened my attention span, that I've noticeably it's shortened it. But I absolutely love TikTok because I hear everyone's voice and they are opinions. It's not the news's opinion, which has become opinionated pieces at this point, not fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
So TikTok, and especially before they shut it down and kind of relaunched it, because it's definitely changed, I could hear from anyone all over the world. And I love hearing other parts of the world of what they think about us and what's going on, because they're seeing it through cleaner eyes than we are. And I liked that. I like that. I want to see more of that, because that's what's going to change. That's what's going to change. You know, what the US is going through right now, and especially over these last few weeks with their government shutdown, I'm hoping that it opened a lot of people's eyes, right? Because everyone's blaming everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they chose to starve Americans. I don't care what side you're on. That's what came out of it, right? And it's like, okay, well, that's not very heart-centered either. But we have people that have been in Congress and the Senate seats and for 50 years, 40 years. I looked up everyone and I'm like, that's why there's no change, right? Because people are holding on to the way it was, and the way it was is collapsing. Same with our healthcare system, right? It's all going to implode. I was hoping healthcare would implode a decade ago, but now it's really going to implode because what I'm seeing, and I'm seeing most of it on TikTok because that's where you actually get your truth, is as people aren't buying into healthcare anymore, right? And seeing health pay and looking at, and I was told my kids, I was like, I'll probably have to move overseas to grow old. And I'm okay with that. It's just part of what we're thinking, right?
Italy. I love Italy.
Maybe but it's also more realistic. It's cheaper for me to fly to Europe than it is to fly to California. Right?
And for me to fly to Canada, I can't even fly to my other country. I can go see my friends in Germany and Spain and England cheaper than I can fly to from the East Coast to Vancouver.
Right. I spend a
That's
lot of
too
time
bad.
in Europe, right? Because of that. It's easy. But now, wherever I go, I know people too, which I didn't have that pre-pandemic. I can go anywhere in the world and, know people and really be taken into their homes, right? So when I was in Europe last year, I found someone in Portugal. It was actually like a cruise director. I forget what they call them. In Portugal, and he wanted to come to New York. I live outside New York City. And I was like, why don't you bring your family and you can stay with me, and then I'll come to you and you can take me
Host
around,
me.
right? And that's so cool. That's what came out of all of it. And it's an appreciation of who each other is, right? So I think a lot of things are going to implode, especially in the US. But because we're like,
I hope not. I really do not. I hope not, because that'll affect the stock market, and that's not what we want. But I mean, I get what you're saying. Things are kind of like moving. Things are kind of moving in a direction where we have to prepare ourselves, more or less. But it sounds what you're saying, and more of an entrepreneurial. Like, we're going to become a lot more entrepreneurial than we are really servants to other people. And depending on what job you're looking for, those jobs are going to go away because of AI. In some, not right away. It's going to take some time because AI is not perfect. There's still stuff like this is AI. Like, we're on AI, and I'm having lagging issues and a whole bunch of stuff. There's still I think we're like 3 years away from really being AI efficiency in some capacity. But I understand what you're saying. We're kind of walking ourselves in a path that we have to be really self-reliant on us and our laurels, and most importantly, we have to network and trying to find our niche and our tendencies. This is why this is why I came on a Substack, because when I started Substack, Kaz knows the story. It was a ghost town. You had to go and find your readers and bring them in. You didn't have notes. You didn't have podcasts. And actually, it's become a
Videos.
really good, videos. It's really become a really good um, business plan if you really want to start a business and start working through that. I mean, obviously, you got to build your audience and things like that. But I think it's one of the fastest growing platforms of all platforms across social media, because you're not dealing with the saturated, opinionated situations. You're dealing with people who actually have to write and thoughtfully put out their words and carefully try to make gist of it. I think that's a cool part of it. So I see that being the case, and your side hustle really needs to be more of a more than just a hobby. It needs to be a side hustle that turns into something, because down the road you don't know what's going to happen. You need the security, you need the plan B, you need plan C, because your plan A working somewhere, it's not going to be a permanent situation. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah. I can't predict the future, but it's definitely changing. But it's always changed for every generation. Right. When computers started, it felt the same way, right? So
I'm not asking you to predict. I'm just saying.
I think more and more of us are going to entrepreneurship, because we can go all over the world. We can live, right? We want the boundless freedom. We're not working 9 to 5 anymore, and it'll change. Just like we were talking about healthcare. You know, healthcare has always been. I had this conversation with someone yesterday. Healthcare has always been attached to people's jobs, so they've been afraid to leave. Right now, if people aren't going to up their healthcare anyway, they're free. There's no more shackles, right? So why not? Why not? Just go do it, right? Because if you were staying in your job because of healthcare or benefits, you just lost your benefits. You can't afford them anymore. So let's go try something else. So I think, and big corporations or layoffs, I think you are better off betting on yourself than you are loyal to a company that's going to let you go in a snap of a finger to help their shareholders, right? There is no loyalty anymore. And the new generation, like I used to help people that were like 48 to 62 reinvent themselves. I have 30-year-olds that are never going to go into the corporate world. And I'm a former MBA professor, and that's one of the reasons I stopped, because we're teaching the same stuff I was learning in 1990. I was like, there's no CEOs anymore. There's no big giants. There's not, like, why are we not teaching entrepreneurship that has this global impact? Because that's what's
I think what it is our education system is broken. That's
along with everything else.
And what we learned as kids, I mean, when my generation, we're probably the similar age, in the 1970s, you know, math, science, and English was probably the predominant thing that you want to learn, right? Because that was the norm. But as things progressively move forward, it's still the same. It's just not. It's just not worth it. It's not worth the money you spend. Like my college degree is political science and history. Have I used it in any capacity? No. My writing is mostly in historical content, like when I do write about remembrance and I talk about certain things. It's the historical fact of, and it's mostly cultural perspective, because I'm looking at that from that point of view, a human aspect. But but no one really cares about that in college, and those degrees are kind of walking away. They're the ones that are getting replaced. So I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, it depends what you do. I think reading, writing, and arithmetic, science, all still very important. We still want people to study those, because that's how our future is made, right? Very important. I always wanted my kids to have college educations. All of them went. But years ago, I used to tell them, you all need masters. All of you. Like, there is But by the time they got through college, I was like, don't do it. What a waste of money. I was like, even their college education was right. So, because it changed. The pandemic also changed it, right? I said, go to college for, because you grow up, right? Live there. I also made them all live there. But my twins, when their freshman year was 2020. I mean, it was awful. It was an awful experience.
My son too.
It was an awful experience. And my oldest that was in college, I think they were a junior at that point, was in film school and ended up coming home. They're like, how are they going to teach film on video? And they just took it off. Now they went back to school for science. I looked at college as a way to grow up, but I think it's very different today because people aren't going away or they're learning online. And I will tell you, learning online is a totally different experience, and people are not absorbing and they don't understand how to apply it. It was terrible. I saw it in my own schools. It was a terrible way to learn. People are just, let me just do this to pass the test. They were getting A's, and I got them later in the MBA program. And I was like, you learned this. You couldn't have taken this class until you learned this. And they're like, yeah, we took it online. We didn't learn a thing. And I was like, okay, there's a big problem in this education system. Right. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's my son, the same thing. He had been going to community college, and then he got a scholarship for uni, and his first full semester there was started January 2020. But I want to circle back to something that really struck me, and you mentioned it a little while ago, Camille. And John, I sent this to him to discuss with him. A really good friend of mine sent me an article by the New Yorker that said how it's cool not to have no followers. Now, that was a bit of clickbait because the article did not say it was cool to have no followers. What the article said was so many of these, there are three types of accounts basically. There were famous people, celebrities, people of note who their audience came organically. They didn't have to work for it. They didn't have to do anything for it. The moment they got online, they had millions of followers. And then the people who got started really early on to social media and didn't leave, unlike me, I was there kind of in the beginning. I left for 7 years, was convinced to come back. And 2 years out, I'm still trying to figure it out. And it seems to be a vastly different world. And then you had the people who were working really hard for it, who had tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, and they created that themselves. That the interesting thing is, a lot of their accounts are full of fake accounts, bots, and dead accounts. And that if you took, I mean, I slashed and burned my Instagram and once I was done, it literally was 50% of what I just mentioned, and guys looking for a hookup. So what the New Yorker was saying is now we are more interested in more curated, meaning connection, making connections. It's not just, and the dancing on TikTok is fun. The dancing on Instagram is fun. It's very entertaining. It's lighthearted. I'm not learning anything from it. I'm certainly not going to learn how to clog from it, but it's fun to watch, right? I'm not taking clogging no matter how much I love them. But when you realize that your social media, especially what I call the bigs, TikTok, X, Twitter, Facebook. At one time, I had 3,000 friends on Facebook. I really knew maybe 400 of them, which included students and included friends, family, college, high school. The rest of them were friends of friends, friends of friends, friends. And we were told just inundate your Facebook with as many possible people as you can. And I finally said, feels just really fake to me. So since my social media is quite small, I feel, oh, well, I'm finally really cool. But it's not that. It's that I'm connecting, and I'm consistently connecting with, I continue to grow on Substack. I grow more slowly on YouTube, and I'm at nearly a standstill on Instagram. And okay, I'm not really worried about that. I'm not worried about any of it. But I just found, my friend said, her quote was, "You've been figuring out how to get more followers. Now you're off the hook because all you care about is being heart centered and sharing and giving people tools with what you do in the healing arts modalities. And you have really loyal people who subscribe to you and follow you and who you communicate with all the time." So yeah, it's, to me, it's like the slow food movement. It's like the in-person movement. It's having another, it's having would it be a growing pain, or would it be yeah, it's having another growing pain, but it's actually shrinking, if that makes any sense at all. I don't know, Camille, throwing to
So
you.
I I think it shifted in the last year, and I tell my own clients, I call it authentic success. When you're showing up as you are, you're shining your light brighter so people can see you, and then they come and follow you, right? Having a bunch of followers, I have tens of thousands of followers, but if they don't do anything, right, and commenting on my post it doesn't change my brand at all. You know what I'm saying? So having that doesn't really prove, unless you're selling them something and making money and they're your true followers, right? That's the community. Um, but I think showing up authentically and shining your light brighter is actually how people find me. So I have a word of mouth business, um, but I'm in 30 countries because of it, because I show up exactly as I am. I tell people my own stories, right? I don't spend a lot of money. I don't spend any money actually on marketing. And it comes naturally. And I make collaborations with other people. I make partnerships with other people. I help people naturally. That's me shining brighter so more people can see me and they come in. I never look at how many followers do I have, how many comments do I have, because what difference does it make? It's not, that's my goal. My mission is not see how many comments I can have, right? Or how many posts I can make. It's getting people to be a part of the soul professional movement.
And it's not all flash and splash anymore. And I think it might have been you. I was in one of your master classes and you said that people are attracted to your energy.
Yes.
And in some ways they want to be you.
Yes, that was me.
That was you. I've heard several people talk on this topic, but they also want relatability and they want to hear your stories. See, and I have said for quite a while now, I'm not a phoenix who rose from the ashes. I never went away. I walked through the ashes. And that telling, and I have not been, because I was teaching meditation, it was just the modality. I was not after class talking to people and helping them with their problems, because I am not a therapist. I have meditation certifications and Reiki and Qigong and hypnosis certifications, but I'm not a licensed psychiatrist, psychologist, or therapist. So I'm not going to give you in my opinion, this is what you need to do, because especially in the day and age we're in now, people are litigious. And if they do something you've recommended and it didn't work out in any way, shape, or form, they're coming back after you. And I can guarantee that they are going to tell you,
Yeah.
that didn't work and you messed me up. And so we have a problem. I don't want to have to deal with that. You are a great person for giving tools and letting people run with it. And I'm all about, here's something, you heal you. I don't call myself a healer. I can't, I mean, it's coming through me and out of me, or it's coming to me and out of me, but I'm not healing you. You
Right.
have decided to take it on and you are healing you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was really profound for you to say. And other people have said not versions of that, but additions to that. And I love it. People want you to help them with their pain. They want everybody's got a pain point. I certainly do. I'm reading a bunch of books right now to help me be better, to be a better teacher, to be a better person, to be a better co-host with the most, to be, just to be better for my son, my husband, my family, my students, my friends. Um, and I think I'm sure you, and John, I've seen you on other podcasts, and you just impart your experience and the wisdom that you gained from your experience to other people. And you're not, well, then follow my lead and do what I do. People want to know that other people have gone through what they've gone through and have gone, well, that worked for her. Maybe I'll try it, but also maybe I'll try something else that something Camille is doing, or something this person is doing, or whatever. I love what we're doing right now. I just absolutely love it, and the way we're doing it.
Yeah.
So if I can just throw some numbers here, some comments. Someone's talking about activities on social media and things like that. And one of the things that I came across was Bill, I forgot his last name, Bill. He's one of our Castellano. And he wrote on his notes, he goes, 87 of my 146 subscribers have no activity. That's lessened the pressure I was feeling. Now I can focus. Now that's what 40. That's 60% non-active, and there's about 40% who are active in our things. Now, how Substack works, how it works is you have followers and you have subscribers, and then you have subscribers that converts into paid subscribers. So there's different levels, and a lot of people will follow you, but they don't subscribe. And most people put a free subscription, so you subscribe, and that means you're getting content delivered to your email box or to your app, or however you set that up. And then if they really enjoy your content, then they'll be willing to either pay. And they either might pay not just a subscription. You have different levels of subscription. You can do monthly or yearly, or a founding member that gives you X amount of dollars, and however that's structured. Or you can even put the option of buy you coffee. So those are different ways of getting money in some ways, right? And I'm sure there's ways to put your merch and things like that if you really want to start pushing. But we push our books on there. That's one of the things that we do. So, but I just want to give that perception of what's going on Substack. On other media, social medias like TikTok, that their viewships have dropped dramatically.
Yes.
So you're not seeing the views like you used to, where you can pop off and get a viral video. It has to be really out of it. It has to be crazy, and that's similar to Instagram. So Instagram and TikTok act the same, and on X, if you're not talking politics, you're not getting any hits. It's just so inundated with politics, and that's part of it. And then YouTube is an old structure frame that now how we podcast our stuff, or we do our shows, we podcast it on 5 different levels. It's on Kaz's YouTube, on my YouTube, it's on X, it's on Rumble, and it's also on Substack on mine. And we have it spread out, and then from there we can able to distribute it afterwards. But if we're hitting 40% of your 60% non-actives, from what I understand, that's not a bad ratio, is it? And if you convert 40% into like maybe 5 or 6% into paid or some type of paid program, that's a pretty good ratio, isn't it?
I guess so, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know
what do you
subscription. I'm not on Substack, so
Okay.
I don't know, what your subscriptions are. If it's, they're paying
Mine's $30
$5 and you
I think
have
mine-
5 people.
Yeah.
Right.
No, mine's like $35 a year, and and I think $5 a month because that's as far as you can go.
So
But
you'd have to build thousands and thousands and thousands of followers for that to pay off. So
really,
it's like a give and take, right? No matter what it is for you, it's just a give and take. If that works for you and your funnels or your systems, because maybe they go from there, but they'll funnel into something else.
Right.
Yeah.
And buy a product, or that's what you're, just as a strategy, that's the strategy side of me. Like, what is your end goal here? Right? It's just like doing free master classes or whatever. Like, my stuff's on YouTube, but I don't really promote YouTube. People call me all day long. Can I promote your YouTube? Can I do this? I don't really do anything with it. The most amount of followers, well, that's not the most, but I have a lot of followers on LinkedIn. That's where I spend all of my time. I'm really not on Facebook. I probably have 10,000 people on Facebook too. And I just started doing a LinkedIn newsletter, and 1,000 people jumped on. Right. So
wow,
that's just me being me and showing up. And all I do is, it's just an article I write every Monday about, what's on my mind. So
we have
probably.
Yeah, so Donna basically said she was on Facebook. She had 2 thriving businesses on Facebook, and she gave them up. All garbage is what she said.
I mean, but for some people, Facebook made a lot of money. Like, if you build communities, I know community builders on Facebook from 2020, right? That because they've built it and shown up, it's still working for them. But to build something now on Facebook, it's not really worth it. And I never put my energy in it, because I just do not have energy to be on all day long. It's not in alignment with who I am, right? And I'm all about working in alignment.
Your focus is mostly LinkedIn. That's it, and nowhere else.
Once a month I put a class on, because I do free classes. I do free business classes, and I put it on YouTube. So once a month, you can go there. I do.
She's got quite a lot too. A lot.
Yeah. I mean, everything I do is word of mouth, right? And I always ask people, this could be in your strategy, but what's your offer at the end?
Right.
Right. So if it's part of your funnel and it's working, then it makes sense. If at some point it doesn't work anymore, it's like my membership after 10 years, it did bring in a few $1,000s a month, but I was like, it doesn't make my heart sing. So I ended it.
And that's what's happening these days, is that more people are, younger generations are saying, this doesn't, first off, the job market is not fabulous right now, but secondarily, especially for younger people starting out in the workforce and all that, this is not making my heart sing. And I know generations before me, it was like, the job, who cares if it makes your heart sing? You got a degree, you became an accountant, you did that for 30 years or 40 years. You had your insurance, you had your steady paycheck, you bought your house, you had your car, you had your kids, and it was very formulaic. But at the end of the day, when you retired, if you were able to retire, did you miss it at all? No. I mean, my grandparents, they walked away from both of their lifelong jobs like, me, all right, now I'm done. There was no, their hearts were definitely not singing. My dad's heart, at the end of his career, was definitely not singing.
Yeah. I mean, I always ask people, if you were to win the lottery today, what would you get up and do? Right? If you're telling me quit my job, you are not in alignment, right? I would still do what I do. I would get up and my day would pretty much be the same, because I love what I do. I would travel more though. But
yes.
I love what I do. So, and I let go of things that don't serve me. Right? But that's my whole thing.
Is it hard? Is it hard to let go of stuff? Is that why people are afraid to kind of move on? Is it because of the fear factor of letting
security? There's no security.
Well, there's really not security in anything today.
That's
right?
true.
But when I got let go in 2015, I was defunded. My program was defunded. I was, how old was I? 48 maybe? I was 48, and I was like, you know what? You can get CEOs a lot cheaper than me, right? And I realized that I better start betting on me and creating the life that I want moving forward, because I cannot rely on a company to pay my way. And as I get older, it's going to get harder, very hard, right? So I was like, how am I going to do this? And I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
I was a single mom, and I was like, this is my best bet, is to build a company. And along the way, I've constructed, I've deconstructed, I've talked about that on lots of interviews. You know, I figured out along the way what makes my heart sing. Now in this next decade, it's what am I going to get rid of? I had 9 seasons of podcast that I got rid of. I stopped doing collaborative books. I'm doing singles, but I'm doing it with publishers now. Like, there's things that are changing because I've changed. I'm different. My kids are out of the house now and grown. They're adults. So I'm in a different stage. What do I want to do? But I'm also looking at, how do I support myself at 60 and at 70 and at 80, right? Those are things that I'm looking at. And it was never to work for a company.
No.
I'm not any more secure. You're probably less secure. And if I had to worry about, my insurance and all of my benefits and my time off was all tied into an employer that I hated and a job that I didn't want to show up for, I can't imagine. That's why we're all sick, right? That's all stress in your body. Like, that's why, so if things don't feel good, I just let them go. And I figure I'll make the money a different way.
And how it used to be, where certain states were right to work states. When I was working in living in California, it was a right to work state. Florida's a right to work state, but which meant you could walk into your job and that day on the spot, we don't need you anymore. And the inverse, you could walk into your job and tell your boss, I'm leaving today.
Yep.
And, good luck. But it's almost like that now, where somehow the corporations can get around the laws or regulations or whatever. And even if it's not a right to work state, say, yeah, we no longer need you. Here's your 2-week notice. And by the way, here's your paycheck for the 2 weeks. And we don't want you to come back.
Yeah. I mean, and it could be happening in an instant. I mean, look at the past 6 months, all the layoffs, and now all those people are in the job market. There's not jobs. Right.
No, that actually last week was the highest job loss or job report than over a year.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah. And those people lost healthcare, lost all their benefits, lost their pay. And there's not like they can go to another corporate job, right? Corporations are kind of imploding, not really, but right.
They're circling the wagons, as it were.
It's got to change, because there's no loyalty anymore. Either way, an employee doesn't have it and a company doesn't have it, where there used to be, right? Like, there used to be loyalty. You worked for a company for 30 years and you got a beautiful pension and it paid for your life. And that may have been worth it for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. Doesn't exist.
So
you said some really,
sorry,
you said some really cute, you said some really important points there.
Mm-hmm.
That should not be underlined at all, because when you are like, I look at this, I think everybody on Substack or on social media are in this entrepreneurial world, and they are navigating through this and they're learning how to do it. And obviously you did it in 2015. You just said, I'm going to do it.
Yep.
No matter what. It's, you burnt the bridges, you went for it. Right. And you said there's no backup plan. That's all. But some people are working and they're trying to make this as a side hustle. I guess that's
Good
the
way to
best way of
start.
putting it.
Yeah.
And I was like, come across this TikTok one day, and this person said they've earned $56,000 in 3 months.
Mhm.
With what?
And then I thought about just products, I guess, selling,
Yeah.
hawking products,
Ah,
TikTok. But everybody's doing that now. It's not
saturated.
Very saturated.
Yeah. So you have to get up there and start doing it. I just think when you have an opportunity, you can't sit there and just think about it. When you don't make a decision to move forward or not to do it, and you're kind of sitting there waiting for it to happen, that's where you lose the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you have to jump in it like what you did. You jumped in it and you said, okay, I have about 40%, 60% of the information that I need. The rest of it, I got to figure it out. And the rest of it meant like you're probably IT things you got to figure out, because when you're running an entrepreneurial thing, you're doing it all.
Yep.
You're writing scripts, you're doing videos, you're doing the shows, you're doing you name it. You're the IT person, you're doing the banking, you're invoicing, all that. And there's so much automation you can do, but there's a point where you have to be a master of everything to understand it. And then once you get to a point where you can say, I can hire somebody for this, I can hire somebody for that, but you need to understand it so you know how to employ people. But most people don't understand you have to take those small steps along the way to get there. So when someone says I made $56,000, everybody looks at that, oh, I can do that too. And then they don't understand the whole contents of that. That person put a lot of blood and sweat to get that money, and that might have cost them like a year or two, because like social media takes at least a year or so to kind of get you going. Until once you get going, that's a different story.
Yeah.
So you did what most people want to do, and I guess how would you encourage them to do it?
So if they already have a job, I always tell people, and I work with a lot of people, if you have a safety net, it's a lot easier. So if you have a full-time job, you can start a side hustle, right?
Yeah.
And work that up and then create the exit plan for you to do it. I always, with many clients, we just pick a date in the future. I get a lot of educators in the month of October that are giving notice in June. Right?
Really?
And I'm like,
Wow.
okay, we got some time. Here's our exit plan. These are the milestones we have to hit along the way.
Wait a minute. You tell them to put a resignation in for June.
Yeah. Well, and
Like
you leave at the end of the year. So
but
School
you
year.
don't say. Oh, but you don't say to them, like, you put your registration, this is your last year, put it in. You're saying that's just a metaphor. No, I mean, like, they're not putting there as a metaphor.
No, they've usually decided. That's why a lot of educators come to me in October.
Oh, okay.
I have what's called a business accelerator in my business school, where it's concept to launch. So I'm teaching the fundamentals of business, the MBA education, while I'm doing it with you, right? So it's a mentorship program. It takes about 14 weeks. But if you're telling me that, hey, I want to be out of here by June, that's my first exit plan, then we can work with that. Sometimes people build it alongside, and we'll see what happens, right? So I've worked with all sorts. I just worked with a government employee who was up there, and he decided to resign. We built his business. He's like, I'm going to resign now, and I'm just going to see what happens. And I'm like, great, right? So, but at some point you have to take the leap, because you can't give 100% to both sides, right? But
what did he end up doing? Without revealing too much who he is?
He calls himself a future self strategist, and his background was actually at the FBI. And he works with people now in the government that are becoming entrepreneurs, mostly with their mindset. He also reads Akashic records at that level. So
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know who that is.
I think you know who it is. Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Uh,
I
yeah.
do.
Yeah. So, those are the people that come to me. And, it's what are we doing next? But it's different for everyone. So there is no plan that fits everyone. There is no 10 steps to 10K months. They're like every single person's situation is different. What everyone has to come up with is different, right? If you're a 2 income household, it's a lot easier than if you're a single mom like I was, right? And there's steps along the way that you got to say, what am I doing in this situation, right?
But
Sometimes
don't you think somebody who has out of the starting gate was with the FBI has got a bit of a head start on some other people? Like, I mean, I came up in entertainment, and there's a lot of us out there transitioning,
there are,
and singer, dancer, actor, director, producer, whatever, whatever, whatever. There's a lot of us. And
there
yes, you may
are.
be the most talented, um, in that you may have worked constantly, whether you did to film, television, Broadway, whatever, but you are hitting the boards with a lot of other people who are in nearly the exact same situation. So how does that that you weren't with the FBI
Sure.
or the CIA or
So every single one of us is unique in some way. Every single one of us has something special. And that's what we got to start with. That's what we got to find. So even in my business itself, we take 3 weeks just to figure out your uniqueness in the world. I make you research all of competition. Who do you think you want to be like? What do you not like about their programs? What do you like about their programs, right? So we're building who you are and your unique value proposition, right? But think of all the people that graduate law school and all the people that graduate medical school and all the people that have MBAs, right? We're all exactly the same. There's 1,000 people that have the same degrees I have, right? But we're not exactly the same. We have the same formal education, but we are not exactly the same. Every single one of your actors, you are not the same. One person gets that role, one
yep,
person, and hundreds audition.
yep.
One person is right for that role and nails it, right? It's the same in the entrepreneurial world. You just have to shine your light so bright that people have the problem. They say, well, that's the only solution. Kaz, right there. She's got my solution. There's no one else to call. You have to set yourself up in a way that your competition is irrelevant. That's what it's got to be. Like, you have to have a very narrow niche, though. You have to have a narrow niche. And that
It's
is more
funny.
important today than ever before because of AI.
Yeah. It's funny when you say shine bright. When I was telling my kids when they're younger, before they dropped off when I dropped them off at school, I always say shine bright like a diamond.
Yeah,
And no one can beat you. Nobody.
absolutely.
And you have to have that mindset to move forward. So now you got your business going and it's humming, and it sounds like you're making some changes, right? So what are you seeing yourself? I mean, we talked a little bit your future, but what are you actually working on, and what are you kind of like going direct? What direction are you really moving in? Is everybody kind of like following your direction now? Are you seeing a pattern, people following you?
A lot of people follow me. I don't really look for the pattern
Okay.
because I feel like there's another paradigm shift that's happening right now. And I think the new year is going to show us something different. I'm trying to figure out, I closed my paid community. What is next for me? And I have a couple ideas that I'm working on. I'm still working on the Soul Professional movement, which, how are we going to be in person? Um, I'm putting together a show. I'll have more to talk about that in a couple months. I'm making collaborations I just made a collaboration with a media company. I think collaborations is going to be a big part of everybody's future. You are not a lone wolf anymore. You got to see who surrounds you, who supports you, who makes you shine brighter. Yeah. So, and that's what we got to do in the world. It's just about, being better.
You do, and totally, you do, and collaboration has been
Kaz is my co-host.
with the most co-hostess with the mostest. I and even as an entertainer, I felt like no matter how many casts I was in, how many shows I did, it was still me. It is a collaboration, but it's still my role, my this, my that. And when I stepped away from that, when I fell off my last building, literally, and had this my whole healing arts modality in my back pocket and was continued to learn, etc. It was it was working in tandem with other people, and it that has grown exponentially, especially in the last couple of years. And heart-centered people, and like you said, being willing to say, and I wasn't a lost lamb or anything like that, but my spirituality took a back seat, and I wasn't really talking about it. I mean, people know that I follow Buddhist philosophy and Eastern philosophy, that I'm a non-theist, and that's fine. I don't care what you are, and I don't think you need to care what I am. But I didn't address anything other than I teach these healing modalities, but I wasn't talking about me and the vast amount of experiences, both positive and very negative, that I've gone through. And it was the moment I started saying, yes, I have trauma, and this is what I did, and slightly, not incredibly specific, but you definitely would get the idea. And that's when people say, oh, wow, I know where you're coming from. And, I'd love to discuss this more. Or will you come on my podcast? Or do you have a poem that you can contribute to what I'm doing that touches on
Yeah.
that? It really starts snowballing, and it really is the connection and the collaboration.
Yeah, because you showed up authentically, right? And we can only attract who we are in the world. So if we show up with a mask, we're not actually attracting our peers or our others in the world, right?
Oh, we're attracting, all right, but
We're
it's
attracting,
not
but not our people. You're always attracting, right? But until you're authentic, that's when your vibration is the highest, and vibrations meet vibrations. So if you want to find yourself in the world, you have to be more of who you are. So people are attracted to you.
Are you intuitive to people's
aura.
intuitions or aura? Are you able to tell if that's the right fit for you, or
So I
no?
can't see people's auras. That's Kaz.
I can. I never told you that, John. Yes, I can.
Yes.
I don't talk
I'm
about it very
I'm
much.
just in trouble.
Yeah. But yes, I can feel people's vibrations, and I pretty much have a good read on everybody.
She does. She's
Very
really
good. Yeah.
she has a way of selling what she does, for sure. She's very good at getting the point across of the value of what she does. But I've seen you time and time again. Well, and when I've been to your master classes, or when you pull the cards, just everything I've done, that you don't really have people that aren't at
I know
least somewhat
exactly who
aware of
I
who
am.
they are.
Yeah.
You're not getting people who are still wearing their very big, very thick mask, and
Not
are
thick.
projecting the character they want you to think they are. I don't see that you get really a lot of that in the people that you're attracting that come to your live things.
Yeah. So people show up. If they don't fit, they usually leave. Um, uh, but people find me when they're supposed to, right? So sometimes people find me and they're very attracted to me and they're like, I have this feeling I'm supposed to be here or I'm supposed to know you, but they don't know why. I'm told why, but it's just like our FBI friend. When he called me, he had been following me, and I knew the moment we spoke that we would work together. Didn't know then. No, I don't pressure people. I don't force clothes. I'm like, when you're a hell yes, you come back. And of course he came back and we were able to work together, but I just knew, right? So some people are in an awakening. I have a client now it's actually just so beautiful to watch because she doesn't know, but I already know how intuitive she is and how many gifts that she has, but she has no idea. And each session I'm showing her, well, she's finding it because I'm giving her the exercise to find it.
Clues.
Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, that's me. And I'm like, I know. But that's what it takes. Like, I didn't know that I had all the power I had till other people more powerful than me showed me. Right. And they're like, you can do readings. I was like, well, I do know these kind of things. Or like, yeah, that's called a reading. Like, or that's called a download. And I'm like, oh, everyone doesn't do that. Like, so it's just stuff like that.
They can, but they don't. Intuition
Yeah,
is not
and
something
muscle,
that
right?
you're.
And it's a muscle. It's the class I'm teaching now is called Aligned by Design, but I'm teaching because I learn when I teach. I'm teaching, like last class was all about intuition and how are you bringing out your clairs, explaining each one, telling people how they show up, what they might see. Like, I don't have this one, but this is what my clients tell me it looks like, right? Or I have this one, this is how it shows up for me. It might show up different for you. Our symbols are different, how we read people are different, what we see are different, right? But it's all the exact same energy. Every modality, everything we see, it's exactly the same. We just do it our way, right? It's like our handwriting. All of our handwriting is different, but we're writing the same words, right? That's how intuition shows up for all of us. We all have it, and it's a muscle. The more you learn to use it, the easier it is, right? I couldn't always read people like I could today. I could when I was a kid, and then I let it go for a while because I was too in my head. And now it's a part of my business, right? When I'm in session with somebody, I'm holding space for others. That's when my spirit team will talk to me. But I absolutely have knowings. I know things, and it doesn't mean I have to share it with that person, but I definitely know things.
All right, I want to ask you. Here comes the curveball. Whoop. So, what is a question that you have wanted people to ask you in an interview, but they never have?
They never have.
So a question you have wanted to be asked, and something you've wanted to share, but no one has ever asked you. I know that's a toughie.
I can't think of anything no one's ever asked me because I've been in a lot of interviews.
So you've been asked every single question you wish someone would ask of you. Stump.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm pretty much an open book, and I write about everything. So.
Well, there you go. No. So the answer is no. The answer is no.
Yeah. So I don't think. I mean, there's people that have dove into my childhood and my.
Well, I have a question for you that's going to stump you.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Which I already know the answer to. So you say you're Italian, right?
Here we go.
You're Italian, apparently.
Yeah.
So let's see how you are as an Italian. So when you're cooking Italian food,
yeah,
do you mix the garlic with the onions?
Well, they don't go in the same time.
But do you put it in the dish?
Garlic and onion in one dish? Yeah, my sauce has both.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. But
Wait,
So,
does it
it
also
also,
depend which region you're from in
yes,
Italy?
I was
I
just
mean,
going to say that. So,
Sicily's a
yeah,
hell of a lot different than Rome, you know.
absolutely. So my family's from Naples. My family's from
okay.
Naples. So yeah,
Napoli.
we use both.
Well, technically, Naples, they keep it separate. Technically,
My
even the North, they keep it. They keep it. Well, I'm just saying. It like
I don't understand
I
the
was
question. Well, maybe that's because I don't cook, but
well because in Italian cooking, you're not supposed to blend both of them together because they cancel each other out. So when you're cooking, one gets canceled the other, so they don't really cook well with each other.
so garlic and
You never
onions
heard
are
of that?
never in a sauce together or gravy or
Not
anything.
usually. No. And it's not gravy, it's a sauce.
Well, where I was raised in New York, my neighbors across the street, the Faga family, called it gravy.
Yeah, New York,
All right. Well,
Italian New Yorker, yeah,
yeah.
call it gravy. I call it salt. It was always called
I
sauce in
call
my
it
No, it's
sauce
family.
not.
too.
Yeah.
Gravy is like what you put over your
Brown.
mashed
Yeah,
potatoes, and it's
Yeah.
brown or it's
that's what
kind
it's
of
on French fries. In New Jersey, it
in
goes on.
Well,
poutine. Oh, that's poutine. That's poutine
Yes,
in Quebec and in
yes,
Canada. Brown sauce, cheese curds, fries.
yeah.
Thank you.
well, the thing is that the reason why you don't cook them together because if you look at the dishes, some of the dishes don't require onions or things. Like the tomato sauce, like a plain tomato sauce is usually with garlic and tomatoes
Mm.
and basil,
Basil, yeah.
right?
Mm.
And salt and pepper. Now, if you're doing a I can't bolognese.
Like
Now that's
bolognese.
onions, the staples, onions, carrots, and celery, and that's it. You don't put garlic in there. It's that's the bolognese sauce. Some like when you're making like seafood sauce, like whatever sauce you're making, it's usually all onion. It's all garlic. That's
Yeah,
it.
scampi. Yeah.
Scampi, it's garlic and all that. So I don't know what I was always trained when I cooked was never mix the both in an Italian restaurant because it just
Interesting.
Yeah, I would never
cancels it
thought
out.
that.
Yeah.
Where was your family from in Italy, John? I don't recall you ever saying.
So my family comes from two parts. My mom's from the Bosanica, which is the south part near right. If you go to Bari, we're right in the Bari and Napoli. We're right in the middle in the shoehorn. That's where my mom's region's from. And then my dad's from Veneto or
Oh,
Vicenza.
Veneto.
Yeah,
Veneto. Yeah.
yeah, near Venice and Vicenza and all that up that way. So yeah, we never mixed the both. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. It
Well,
all depends. I always ask Italians for that question because there's always a major debate.
I love it.
And then everybody
That's
says, "Oh, it depends on the region." And then when I say, "Well, that never was when we did culinary. That's not was never the case." So I don't know where that came from. Maybe it was house preferences. I don't
I
know.
was just going to say it could be that my great grandmother didn't, but as it was passed down, we
Yeah,
added onions because my father
right.
absolutely added onions. And I'm trying to think, did my grandmother? I don't know.
huh.
Well, I got scorched one time. My mom was so I was actually cooking. I was cooking. I was making sauce, and I did my onions. I put my garlic, got that going. Then I got my onions in there, got all that going, and I got scorched. The guy said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm making sauce." And he goes, "That's not how you make Italian sauce. You just ruined it." And then a typical Italian, he just threw his hand up. He goes, "You just ruined it." And then he walked out. I was like, "Okay, what do I do?"
So
I was
favorite.
left there. I
Well,
was left there like in shame. Like it was a shame moment. Italians get really emotional and they freak out and they're like they want the kid. Yeah, it was like one of those. How can we go on like this? Was more of the
The
conversation.
night is ruined.
but this is
How
roast
can we go on like this? The world has crashed. What do we do? What are you doing? Yeah,
stunad. Hey, stunad.
yeah.
So favorite place in Italy or just the whole country?
I haven't been to everywhere in Italy.
No.
There's so much still to do. I did northern Italy with I've never even been to Naples. I've done northern
No, nor
Italy
have
with
I.
my oldest child, and my sister and I are going to go back to Naples together. But I
Yeah.
have
So
not been all through Italy.
we take the train. Well, we took the train all over the place.
Train.
So we were taking the train
Yes.
into Napoli. My uncle said to me, he goes, now, Johnny, when we go to Naples, you're going to start smelling something. And he goes,
Uh-oh, here
it
it
gets
goes.
worse as it gets closer and closer and closer. It was the garbage. The garbage is piled out just outside the train station. It was like really bad. And I don't know, it stunk. It stunk the whole train. We got in there. It was bad. Yeah. The quicker we couldn't get out there fast enough.
Wow.
So yeah, it was really bad.
Something to look forward to.
Well, that was my
Happy
experience
trip to
like
Naples.
years ago. I don't know now. It might change. I don't know.
Wow.
You know how everything changes. But yeah, that was my experience with Naples. But the pizza was awesome. The pizza, I love the pizza. Love the sandwiches. They make some great food there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in northern Italy and didn't love well, it's not that I didn't like their food. Their food was good. It wasn't how I thought Italian food. There was no red sauce. I never had red sauce the whole time I was there. I was in Florence. I stayed in Florence for a while. We had a lot of meat.
Yes.
A lot of red
Been
wine.
there.
But every single day I had bread with fresh butter and anchovies with a glass of red wine. I was in freaking heaven. For €3.
I love anchovies. Anchovies.
I was like,
I know more.
The butter and the bread with an anchovy on top. It was incredible. Incredible. And I came home and I was like, our anchovies don't taste anything like either does our butter or our bread. But oh my God. Yeah.
And I can eat pasta in Italy too. I cannot eat gluten.
I did in Italy.
I ate pasta. Verona is so far my favorite place of all the like 15 places I've been, and I loved Verona. I loved Verona, Shakespeare. There's a little Colosseum in the middle there, all these al fresco restaurants. And I remember being there with I don't drink a lot, but they served you like a small glass of Chianti. It wasn't like a burgundy glass, So a little Chianti and just the pasta, spaghetti, with a marinara on top and a beautiful sprig of basil. And I said, I just got to try it. And I've got medication. If it makes me sick, nothing. I guess it's the semolina that they use, or everything's bio there. I don't, but no problem whatsoever. None.
Yeah.
But I loved Verona. The aqueducts and people were so nice and helpful and yeah.
Yum.
Well, John.
Well, yeah.
What else do you have?
Well, I was thinking that we're getting close to the time here, so I just wanted to say thank you. Is there anything else you want to share at the moment? Is there any books or how people get a hold of you?
So the best way to get a hold of me is on our website, which is Soul professional.com. You can also go to CamilleLMiller.com. And you can learn all about our business school, my free classes, our networking, the movement, me. It's all right.
How about where can they get your books to get a little bit?
Amazon is the best place. You can either search me or the word soul. There are 3 books, and they're a trilogy about starting a business, growing a business, and then leaving your legacy in the world.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Hope the audience learned a lot more.
Well, anybody have any questions at all before we wrap it up?
None at all, but there was we've had some comments from Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Hex. We had Donna making comments. They were talking about bread making. Some people failed.
Bread's hard.
So it was a lot of that.
Bread's fun.
So
Julia,
Yeah.
is Juliana
But
here? Juliana's usually here.
no,
Oh, not today. Okay, next time.
no. But we got Truth, Megan,
Hi,
CG,
everybody.
Monkey Mind is on
Oh,
here.
yeah,
So, yeah, we thank you everybody for coming on. We
Thank
appreciate that.
you so much.
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Next Monday, right? At 4:00.
Saturday
We
the
have one.
15th. No, Saturday the 15th
Oh, we have a special
at
edition.
noon. We have a special edition with Sue Reed. Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
she is her brand is Confidence Matters, and I've already done a podcast with her on self-awareness, and it was really, really interesting. Really, some very deep stuff. But we had, of course, a lot of laughs, and so please come back, everyone. And Camille, thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
I appreciate you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See ya,
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks for listening to Stories, Soulwork, and Substack. We're so glad you're here. If today's story made you think, smile, or feel something, share it with someone who needs a little light. You can find us anywhere you love to listen on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other streaming platforms. And don't forget to subscribe to Kaz and John's Substack for updates, behind-the-scene notes, and upcoming guests. Keep writing your truth, keep doing your soul work, and remember, your story matters.